Hey guys, Matt here, and welcome to daily update number 2 on the Zero Hero Challenge. So yesterday we ended the day at about 25 exalts or so, and today we're ending the day with a net worth of about 75 exalts. So let's get right into it, show you guys what that looks like and where it is, because it definitely isn't in my stash tab. So as you can see, we still have 0 exalts today because we spent them all right before the end of the stream. We have 300 chaos, and a shield, which is estimated value of basically an Awakener's Orb, so 4 exalts. So we have about 6 exalt in this tab. Nothing crazy. We went ahead and finished the amulet that I spoke about in yesterday's video. So T1 cold pen, +1 all cold, crafted ES, T1 multi, T1 accuracy, T1 essence dexterity. So I spoke, like I said, explained in yesterday's video how to craft this if you're interested in that. Or you can look at the VOD in today's stream. But I finished this up. Now, unfortunately, the price of these amulets went down tremendously overnight, probably because I streamed it and showed them in the video. But I woke up and there was like 5 of them that weren't there when I went to bed. So fairly unfortunate. The price went down. People are undercutting each other. But I'm still, hoping, I should say, to sell it for 20. That being said, if someone came up to me and offered me like 18 for it, I would more than likely take it just to get rid of it. Otherwise, another thing I did today is I continued crafting the jewels. So I crafted 5-ish jewels, I believe, today. 2 of them sold for 3.5x, 2 of them sold for 5.5x, so that's almost 20 exalt worth of jewels. And that was almost all pure profit because almost none of those were from bought crafts. They were pretty much all self-crafted. Which means while the crafts do inherently have a value, obviously, since you don't have to buy that many, technically it makes it that the crafts are really cheap. So for example, if you do a seed bed of 24 seeds or 28s, I can't quite remember, with like 10C bud and then a 30C bud, like these two here, like the Fortune Bud alongside a Hoarded Crafting Bud, it'll cost you 40 chaos, but you'll get like, let's say 3 or 4 or 5 remove add colds, which in value, if you were to sell them like 30-40 chaos each, they really only cost you like 50 seeds, which is, 20 chaos for the total of however many plus the buds. So that's why obviously self-crafted seeds and self-crafted crafts, while they do hold a value, what they cost you is a lot less. Therefore, if you're using your own craft to craft some stuff, you are making much more profit on the end result of the product. So on the jewels, from the 18 exalts worth of jewels that I sold, only about 2 or 3 of these exalts were from bought crafts. Everything else was from myself. So it did make for some nice profit there. Now, the next thing that I made, and the last thing that I made, really, is this Val Regalia. So this is an int-stacking Regalia and a brand new craft like in the whole YouTube scene. So I'll go ahead and talk about how it was made and the step-by-step process to make them. So I'm not really happy with mine at all because it is T2% intelligence, which I would normally never accept. But unfortunately, I don't have the currency to reroll it. And at the stage where I'm at, the only real method I can do this is to block my prefixes and then remove random prefixes, prefixes cannot be changed, my bad. And then remove influence modifier, add a new influence modifier. And it is about a 1 in 6 to get T1 intelligence, so that would cost me about 12x plus the 2x from the craft. So it would cost me a decent bit of investment. But then it would sell for like 45-ish exalt or so. That being said, if somebody came up again to me and was like, yo, I'll give you 30x for this Regalia, I would probably sell it because I can do a lot more with that pure liquid 30 exalt than I can do with an extra 5 exalt, but in 3 days or however long it takes to sell. So that's the idea behind it. I'm starting it off at 35, but I'll probably end it up at 30. And in the value, I actually valued this up at 35. So let's talk about real quick about how it's done. So you start with the essence intelligence, and then the next thing you want to do is remove every prefix on the item. Once every prefix is removed, you will augment physical 3 times. That is going to guarantee explode alongside physical damage taken as lightning, as well as a reflect. Now, once you have these 3 physical mods, you really want to stop touching your prefixes whatsoever, and you want to finish off the suffixes first. So the best way to go about this is to augment a defense modifier, and then reroll that defense modifier until you get one of the defense influence suffixes from the Crusader. So if you're doing remove, add defense, and you have no prefixes opened, it can only hit the suffixes. That being said, there is a non-influence defense suffix, which is regenerate energy shield per second, which has a weighting of 3,000, which is actually kind of high. But you pretty much don't have a choice. You'll remove and re-add defense until you get one of these two. Now, once you have one of these 2 defense modifiers, what you can do is augment a new influence modifier. Now, with one of them being blocked, the odds of getting T1% intelligence is about 1 in 4, not quite because there's this mod with 250, but about 1 in 4, 1 in 4.5. Now, if you get anything else that is not an intelligence roll, you just remove it. So if you get the other defense modifier, you can just do remove defense. It'll remove one of them, so long as you don't do remove add, and then you just get to augment a new influence modifier again until you get intelligence. If you happen to get what I did, which is T2 intelligence, that is basically the worst case scenario, because there is no tag to remove this. So what you'll have to do at that point is remove the influence modifier that you have, and then remove and re-add a new influence modifier. The only problem with that, though, is that explode is an influence prefix. So to be able to do that safely, you are going to have to do prefixes cannot be changed on your item first, which increases the price of actually making the regalia by, at the very least, 2 exalt. So you really don't want to be hitting that T2 intelligence, so I got super unlucky by hitting that. Anything else would have been fine, because you can just keep going and re-rolling and augmenting, you know, influence modifier, removing defense, removing crit until you get the T1. But sadly for me, I got T2, which is why I valued it at 30 exalt. So 30, 20, and 5, that makes a total of 55 exalt there, and then the rest of our currency, 5 exalt here, takes us to 60, and about 15 exalts worth of crafts, which you can see on reforge.poe .dev. So all of my crafts here, I estimated that to be, real quick, about 15 exalt. It's honestly definitely more than that, because when I did estimate it, I didn't even consider any of the removes. So yeah, it's a little bit more, but just to stay conservative, because these are crafts that take a while to sell, especially the removes, I actually went ahead and estimated that on the low end, so about 15 there, which brings us to a total of about 75 exalt. In terms of seeds, we really don't have a whole lot going on. We don't really have anything in terms of flowers or anything like that. Seeds are all from basically T14 maps, pretty much all from T14 maps. So we are getting really low on T14 maps. We're actually going to have to buy some probably tomorrow, because we are getting through them fairly quickly. But if we're worth about 75 exalt, the only thing that came out of our stash since the beginning of the challenge is about 160 maps, which is about 4 exalt worth of maps. So that means that within these 4 exalt worth of maps, and of course the time investment, we have made about 70 exalt profit, pure profit, from nothing but these maps. So some of that was, like I said in yesterday's video, if you haven't watched that, made from farming, especially jewels, and the T2 blue seeds in the quarry, and then selling the quarry seeds as well. And then today we went ahead and crafted the regalia, finished the amulet, and made more of the jewels. Now you might be wondering why I have a bunch of cobalt jewels in here, and that is a strategy that I came up with today, which on paper looked great. In practice, though, it failed miserably. It actually turned out to be that I did this for literally the entire day, and my reward was jack shit. So very unfortunate for me on that side of things, but I'm hopeful that the strategy is actually going to turn out to be fairly good over a long period of time. So when it does turn out to be good, if it does, I'll be sure to tell you guys about it and explain the thought process behind the strategy. But for now, I'm not really going to talk about it too much, because I've actually been losing currency with it. Like, I haven't been making any profit with the strategy, which is kind of sad. But that's okay, because if it becomes good, I'll be sure to share it with you guys so you guys can get a piece of the cake. And I'm really hoping that my luck turns around, because I feel like maybe I was insanely unlucky today, but who knows. So realistically, that's about it for the video. I mean, we pretty much kept doing what we did yesterday, and then we added a few more crafts. We finished the amulet, and that's mostly it. Going forward, things are probably going to start getting different if these items sell. So if I can sell the regalia for even 30x and the amulet for even, let's say, 18 or whatever, if I can get about 50 pure exalt, like liquid currency, in my stash, I can really start to go ham on crafting and start to really make a lot more currency and a lot quicker, because I can actually start doing, I can actually start crafting things instead of farming crafts and then, you know, not really using the crafts because I have nothing to actually use them on, because I don't have enough currency to craft anything. So it is a vicious cycle when you're beginning, because you're crafting stuff that sells for almost nothing, so then you can't afford to buy the things to be able to craft things that sell for a lot. So it's just, like I said, a vicious cycle. But as soon as you get the wheel turning, and as soon as you get it going, like I said, 50 exalt, and I'm saying 50, but technically, even if I just sold this for 30 and I had only 30, that would still be more than enough to really start going. Because within 30 exalt, I know of about 3 crafts that I can probably make that are going to give me about 60 to 70 out of it. So doubling my money, or even a little over doubling my money. And then obviously we can just do that over and over until we reach whatever the goal is. So obviously that's going to be for probably the next episode. Before I go, though, I do want to say a huge thank you to my supporters: Mario, Luro, Gaikona, Kfish, Legend of A, Dr. Radu, Scott, Eric, Casticus, as well as anybody else who has supported me in the past, and of course, anybody else who supports me through different platforms. Huge thank you to you guys, and hopefully you learned a little something in this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next time. Peace.